What's going on? It's Jam, and I just got done, completed, finished teaching, instructing, facilitating my first mythologizing workshop outside of the academy, the institution. Whew. I'm still coming down. I don't want to be too airheaded. I don't want to be too, out there, but like, boy, it was awesome. First of all, it was smack 9:00 in the morning. One of the first workshops events happening. So I'm just like, look, I know the kids was out partying, improving at the pool apparently and stuff. So I'm like, look, I'll be happy I get one person. It's hecka early. Bro, I got 6 people. Yes, 6 people. And I'm excited and I'm happy about it. Because there were 6 people who wanted to be there. You know what I mean? Like they read the little abstract, the little, tidbit tagline that I provided for the event. And they were messing with it, And I had an hour and a half to run through material that I had gathered and compiled during fall of 2023. A lot of yapping. I wanted to make sure, I'm like, this is theater. I want to, make sure that we embody. But, a lot of it is yapping and basically breaking down my inspiration, how did we get here? Because it's like a new concept. We know about mythology, we know about astrology, but to contextualize it in the scope of theater and performance and narrative, it just takes a little building. So really having an hour and a half, like 30 minutes of yapping, 30 minutes of we're going to do an activity and then 30 minutes of sharing. And, as with everything, I got to go with the flow. Like I can have my set schedule, but I appreciate that about myself to be able to go with the flow, read the room. What do we want? Bro, for the most part, everybody was vibing with it. And I'm just like, look, I don't know, do y'all gotta be here? Do y'all gotta do certain things? It was like one of those moments, but I try not to think about that too much. And it seemed to be genuine reception of these ideas that I was presenting to them, just talking about astrology and the mechanism of astrology, and then the art of interpretation, the art of deriving meaning, and how we in the human body have been doing that over and over and over and over and over again. And so where we are right now, just in terms of like, look, not being happy with the way life is, the society is, like what can we kind of go back to? Not to say like we got to go back to go forward, but how can we create new stories and new narratives based on our lived experiences, because they matter. Our stories matter, and they're always going to speak to the wider issues based on what we go through and what we experience. And through myth, finding those universal themes, finding those commonalities. We love being praised for our individuality, how unique we are, how different we are from each other. And that's great. We need that. But in times of collectivism, in times when it's time to come together as a society and push forward, we need to find what makes us common and brings us together through our stories. And so opening our mouths and expressing our stories, whether good or bad, whether we were the hero or the villain, 9 times out of 10, we were most likely the villain. We weren't shit in our stories, but they still stay with us and they still have a meaning, because when you share that, and that even happened today where I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty detail, but after I had yapped my mouth off and presented the prompt, which was 2 assignments, was to create a personal narrative or a personal myth, at least the building blocks, because it was only about 15 minutes to do so. At least, kind of like preliminary, drawing out the ideas of what your personal myth could be like, your origin story, a moment that defined who you are, a moment that you're still contemplating with, or to take a myth that you already resonate with and kind of break down the deeper meanings of each of those things, elements of the myth. And like everyone shared such personal myths, not in the spirit of trauma bonding, but in the spirit of this is what I've been through. And with the context of mythologizing, like understanding the function of myths and what it does to us and how we can utilize myth, everybody brought themselves to the table. And through, about an hour of me talking, and kind of formulating the perspective of why we're sharing, not just like, I want to share just so I can get this off my chest. It's like, oh, wait, this has value and this has meaning for myself, but then also to be put on stage or to be painted or to be sung or to be danced out. Like, and there was this one person, this one individual, she was a Pisces. And, it was, whenever you're talking in front of other people, teaching or whatever, you see body language. You cannot read the minds right away, but you're just reading body language. And I know, like, introducing astrology, and I gotta give it up to myself because I really made it succinct and concise. I had no other choice but to really just like push past all the biases of astrology and just saying straight up, all right, it's the tracking of the sun based on the geographical location, based on the environment, that we are in, and trying to understand how the environment works according to where the sun is, and then why is it influencing our behavior, our psyche. That's it. Just really getting to the bare bones and then kind of trickling it down from there. So, and this happened when I was teaching the class at Towson University. Like, you just see the faces and I'm like, okay, there's only so much work you can do behind the scenes. How can I tweak it and make it make sense in real time? So, while you're teaching, you're also learning at the same time. And today was no different from that. So I can see this Pisces, just kind of, making the faces and all that. I'm a very reassurance type of person. I just want to make sure it makes sense. I don't want to lose anyone because I know I can just blah, 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 and we end up on Neptune. And I'm like, damn, how we get here? We was just on Earth when, at 9:00. Now at 10:00, we at Neptune. I don't want to lose nobody, But by the end, and the assignment that she chose was a sort of origin story. And what she shared was so personal and ridden with these ideas of personal identity and social belonging. Everyone had so much feedback afterwards, and we even went over time. But I wanted to make sure that, everyone had the, enough time to share their story and get feedback. And, hers just being so potent with personal perseverance. But then also, even though we didn't, I have not lived her life, I've not walked in her shoes, there were themes of stamping your identity versus, the demographic is students. So a lot of folks are separating from their ideas of what their parents have for themselves and stepping into their own identity. But that kind of journey and that liminal space, that transition, man, it can get funky. It can get wacky, man. And we know the stories, we know the tragic stories. But what are the flip of that? And utilizing what you're interested in, passionate in, theater, telling stories. How can we utilize this as our testimony to testify? And whether we're going to use it for our own work that we produce, or whether we just know this about ourselves when we walk into that audition, and that's because you know your story and you're owning it, you are going to get booked for this gig. I'm seeing, even from today, even right now, the value that mythologizing has. For me, it's for self-generative, because I'm always, thinking about myself and how I can come up with my own art. But we want to go to the industries, walk into the door, shake the hands, and bring in our ideas there and uplift as we uplift ourselves. But to see today the value that whether you want to produce art, be independent, DIY, or just knowing this about yourself, whether you said it out loud before and sharing it in a community where we get it. You know what I mean? When we're not on stage, we're still artists. We're still thinking creatively. So it was just a huge, just on that personal, intrinsic level, like, all right, it stuck. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, even if, we had an hour and a half, I'm always, again, like I can be seeking reassurance, but to a fault sometimes, where I'm just like, hey, for real? Like everyone really get it? I'm like, all right, shut up, Jam. Logistics wise, it worked. You know what I mean? I'm glad to be with the people, with the, with my theater folk, really great, vivid imaginations. To say like the lack of tech, I'm not complaining, but I was able to bring my iPad, and I'm glad I had handouts. People were following. The space was cool. I like to be in the round, so we all circled up, and bro, like we were just bouncing ideas off of each other. It was just an incredible experience. I got a little certificate. It was like a little, appreciation certificate. I was thinking of SpongeBob. I was like, for excellent achievement and achievement. And I was like, hey, I got my little name on everything. I was like, I'm gonna put this up and hang it up. You know what I mean? Got my plaques, my certifications, and my platinum plaques in my office. Turned down $1 million offers. Because I'm with the middleman, low ranks. I'm going to only meet with the bosses. Okay? So know that. All right, Jan, we're here. So this was day one, facilitating, mythologizing our stories. Like all right, we're coming down, but just had to get that out there. All right, Jan, and we going to be back tomorrow, Friday, on the 26th, teaching again, instructing again. So, just mixing, how can I tweak where it needs to be tweaked, and then how can I just also be in the moment? You know what I mean? Not planning too much. I'm just glad all the work that I put in last semester. But here we are, baby. First workshop. All right, jam, boom, boom. We out.